everyone, and welcome to my channel DB Designs and Sewing Australia. I'm Deb and welcome and pleased to have you with me. Today I thought I'd bring you my makes for January and a few things that I've got on the board at the moment. So first of all, what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Trudy turtleneck, and that's Wardrobe by Me pattern, in a merino wool from the fabric store. Now the fabric store is a New Zealand store, but they actually have a store in, it's either called Fitzroy or Collingwood, it's practically the same place, in Melbourne. And so I go there, and I did note there's a few colours I don't have in a turtleneck, so I'll probably be making those this winter. But absolutely love the fabric from the merino wool fabric from the fabric store. It's just beautiful quality and washes up perfectly just in a lingerie bag in the washing machine. So that's great. I'm also wearing it with the Harlow sweater vest hack, and that pattern's by True Bias, and this is in a rib knit fabric from Spotlight, and it is quite large, but I think it's probably the rib knit fabric that makes it large, because it's quite, rib knit can be really stretchy, but I actually wore this a lot last winter, so really pleased with that. And I'm just wearing it with some ready to wear Levi jeans in black. I will insert a photo of what I'm wearing today. So, best news ever, my overlocker is back and it is fixed. Now, they told me that both blades were bent, so they got replaced, and the plate, the outside edge that the loop is thread around, that was bent. Now, that was what I could not get to work properly, because it was holding those loopers a long way out from the edge of the fabric. So I knew there was something wrong just there in that part. But $170 later, and I've got it back and it's working well. Some of the settings for the tension is very odd compared to what I'm used to sewing with. So I suspect I have done some other damage, but it is working perfectly well. I have sewn things with it. I have tested it, but I'll insert a photo which shows you the settings, because I mainly did the settings around 3 or 4, depending what I was doing. I think it comes from the factory set with all of them on 3, with all of the tension discs set to 3, but they are really odd. So when I'm changing over to do things like rolled hems and all that sort of thing, and gathering and other things I do on that overlocker, I will have to do a bit of testing to make sure it is working the way I want it to before I use my precious fabric that I would be making an item out of. So a bit of testing to go along with that, but absolutely thrilled to have it back, and it's sewing really well. So really pleased with that. Now, in my January makes, the first thing I made was the Harlow shirt by Tessuti Patterns, and I made this in a green linen from Spotlight. I tell you, I must have washed that 6 times now. I have worn it so much and always get a lot of compliments about it. And teamed with that, I made the New Look 6351 pants, which is just an elastic waist pant. I had previously made the Daisy designer pants, and that is what I intended to do with the floral linen. I will insert photos as we go. But I came across this pattern when patterns were on sale at Spotlight, and I bought that pattern, and I thought, I'll just measure them against each other. Well, the New Look 6351 was the same, but it was slightly narrower in the hips, and I've got much narrower hips than any other part of my body, so I decided to go with that pattern, and I'm really pleased with that pattern. First of all, I just did a really wide elastic waistband. It's probably about that wide. Nice wide elastic, so it sits really nicely. And I didn't top stitch it down or stretch it out and stitch it down. I just had it in the loop inside the waistband. But the last 2 times I got it out of the washing machine, I thought, oh, this is actually starting to roll inside. So when I washed it and ironed it the other day, I did 3 rows of top stitching on it just to hold it in place so that it wouldn't become a hassle. I actually prefer the look of it not stitched down, but convenience wise, I had it to roll when I had it on, or the more worn the elastic gets, it is going to roll. So stitching it down was my best option, so I have done that to it. And the next thing I made was another pair of the New Look 6351 pants, and I called this a lightweight denim. It's actually just a lightweight denim look linen. I can tell by the way it creases up when it's washed and has to be like thoroughly pressed that it has got a content of linen and cotton in it. I made them with a narrower elastic in them. It would be about a 3 centimetre wide elastic. And I have stitched those ones at the top and the bottom. And I made a little pocket just using little buttonholes and put a tie through it. So really happy. I've worn those pants quite a lot too. So really getting a lot of wear out of my January makes, which is great. The next thing I made was a patina blouse by Friday Pattern Company. And I made this in a crepe viscose from the Dahlia Sewciety. Now that fabric was not easy to work with, but I absolutely love the patina blouse. I've worn that a few times too. And I always get a lot of compliments when I go to the shops people always go, that's a beautiful shirt you've got on. So that's really good, and it's really comfortable and really nice fitting. And the next thing I made was the Carolyn Pajamas by Closet Core, and I made the shorty pajama set, and I made my own pink piping because I couldn't find any piping. Now this was the fabric from the Sugar Plum Fairy bespoke box from the Dahlia Sewciety, and that fabric is beautiful. I have worn these pajamas so much, just forever washing them and ironing because I like ironing everything, and I do iron pajamas just so that they sit nicely and I'm happy to have them on. So I have worn those pajamas to death, and I can see myself making a pair of those Carolyn pajamas for winter in the long sleeves and the long legs. So really happy with that. The next thing I made was Phoebe's library bag. Now Phoebe's my granddaughter and she's 5 and she just started school on Monday, and she chose her own fabric from Spotlight when we went for me to make her a library bag, and I made it and posted it to her, and she got it last Friday. So that was great. She had it to start school with, and I'm really pleased with it, and Phoebe's thrilled with it. So I have got leftover fabric for her to take home because she does do a bit of sewing herself, so I'll give her the leftover fabric from her library bag. And the final thing I made in January was the Taiko blouse dress by Named Patterns. Now, I made this in the boho goddess fabric that came in the bespoke box. It's to be in the January box from the Dahlia Sewciety, and it had worked out really well. It really is quite a beautiful dress. Unfortunately, in Melbourne today it's only 16 degrees and raining. So when we're going to get our summer, I don't know. And so when I'll get to wear all these beautiful dresses, I don't know. But since I started back at work, I have not worn my uniform one day. I have worn me-made clothes every single day, to the point where everyone's going, are you going for a job interview? No, I'm not. I'm just wearing the clothes that make me feel happy, not a grey uniform. So I have been wearing all of my clothes. Now, the things I made this week was I made a library bag for Mia. So she's got a fully lined library bag, all lined. When her mother saw Phoebe's library bag, she asked if I could make one for Mia, but I can put Mia's name on hers because she won't be going to school. She just goes to library with her mother. So happy with that. I'll have to see my granddaughter and give her a new library bag. And I did use the method of naming that I used on the towels and the Christmas decorations that I made, using the heat and bond applique method, the same as I did for the towels and the Christmas decorations. I'm not sure that that's going to stay on. I have pressed it several times, but if it starts to come off, I'll just stitch it down. So that's what I've been making this week. I also have made the toile for the top I want to make my sister. Now for Christmas, can't remember if it was for Christmas or her birthday, because her birthday is on Christmas Day. So for one of those, I gave her some fabric, and this is a toile. It has got a V-neck, and it is very loosely based on the Harmony blouse by Love Notions, and I really need her to try it on to make sure the fit's right and that V is low enough in the front. I have, you can't see it because it's white, I have stay stitched it down to where I would be putting the facing, so I'll be able to tell if that's the right fit for her before I make up her top in this beautiful rayon. Actually, it's a rayon lawn, or a full lawn, because it was in with rayon at Spotlight, and I thought, oh, this fabric feels beautiful. And when I got to the counter and they told me how much a metre it was, clearly it wasn't rayon. So, but I really loved it, and so I was prepared to pay that price for it. So the difference between that is the Love Notions Harmony has a round neck, and I changed this to a V-neck, and I also changed it to a longer sleeve. So I decided to make the V-neck narrow. I think sometimes the V-neck's out too far for people that are not terribly wide in the shoulders. So I can always make that V wider. I need to try it on her to see how that goes. Now, the other things I did this week was bought fabric. What a surprise. So, first fabric I bought, not very exciting to look at, but some Bengaline fabric to make some pants with. Now, I'm either going to just going to make some pull-on black pants, but I wasn't going to make them tighten the legs, really, or tight down below the knee, because I wanted to add either beading, like dangling beading, or feathers to the bottom to make them a bit more evening wear. So I haven't been able to find any beading. I can find plenty of feathers around because that's very in at the moment, but beading I have not been able to find as yet, so I'll keep on looking. I actually bought that fabric from Super Cheap, so I bought it online. And this is more fabric that I bought from Super Cheap, and it's just a hot pink rayon. And I was actually going to make another Gilbert shirt, the long sleeve Gilbert shirt that doesn't tie at the front. I was going to make that. I haven't washed any of these fabrics yet because I only just came at the end of last week, I think. And so because that's the colour I love. I also bought this, and they've called it Raspberry Floral, and it's supposed to be a stretch denim. It doesn't really have very much stretch. I don't know what I was expecting. Not very much stretch in it, and I can sit through it a bit. So it's not really very heavy. I probably didn't look at what the GSM was for it. So that also came from super cheap. And I mean, I guess that's what happens when you buy online, is that you don't get to feel the fabric, because had I felt this in store, I may not have purchased it. But I'm sure I will use it for jeans. Maybe they just won't be terribly warm jeans. And the last thing I bought was some paisley fabric. Now it's 100% cotton sateen, so it has that bit of shine to it. But unlike other cotton sateen, it has no stretch whatsoever. And I bought this to make a winter blouse in. So, it smells weird. I haven't washed that yet either. It says it's a premium cotton sateen, 100% comb cotton digital print. So everyone have a really good week. I'll see you next week, and hopefully I will have made up something in this beautiful fabric from the Dahlia Sewciety. How gorgeous is that? Hopefully we get some summer weather, seeing as it's February, which is usually our hottest month of the year, and it is so cold. Hence why I have a polo neck jumper and a vest on. At this time of year in Australia, unheard of. But this fabric is just beautiful, so I'm going to decide. And I honestly think I wear pants most of the time. I do work in an office, but I have to go out into the factory quite a bit for meetings and fixing stuff up for other staff. And so I think maybe some sort of a blouse or a top, so that I can wear it with pants, because I think I would get more wear out of that than a dress. I tend not to wear dress. I really like dresses, but then you have to think, my legs are so white. What shoes am I going to wear? Whereas if you're wearing pants, that's a much easier choice. And so hopefully I've made some sort of a beautiful top out of this. See you all next week. Bye.